Yeah, look at this. 8 3/3s. You can't complain there. Double tortoise. And we have another coil-in. So, easy peasy lemon squeedaddles. Squeedaddles. This should be enough, I think. I think we have enough, yeah. Right, because they're at 8. Yeah, we have more than 4. Absolutely. So, we win? Not too shabby. Pretty easy to do, and look how much mana we have, right? Okay, I'm sure you've seen this deck in some capacity. It's been going around a little while. It's a pretty simple combo. I say combo kind of with quotation marks here, but it's a Vinelasher deck. So we're trying to mill ourselves and take advantage of the milling to bring back a bunch of lands from the graveyard. So yeah, you can cast this for an offspring cost, so it acts as a 3-drop as well, which is why we're not running too many 3-drops. But let me go over, of course, Lumra here. If you haven't seen it for some reason, this is going to bring back all the lands from the graveyard. So it's going to be a lot of triggers for your Vinelasher. If you cast it for Offspring the turn before, then this after, it's pretty much going to win the game if you've done like any decent amount of damage already at that point. So yeah. Now there's a lot of cards I want to go over, but I do want to point over some pretty cool ways of winning as well. Blossoming Tortoise is a really good way of just getting lands every single turn when you swing. Sometimes you can't swing into big creatures, but they can still sit there and act as an anthem for your land creatures. So whether that just be our 2 copies of a Restless Cottage that we're running, or our Awaken the Woods, if we're able to get this at some point and hold it for the right point in the game, all of a sudden, you cast this for X is 8, X is 10. If you cast it for X is 10, which is really not too hard to do in this deck, trust me, you'll ping them for 20, assuming you offspring your Vinelasher the turn before, or what have you. So pretty insane. They'll become 2/2s at the very least. What you can also do, which is like a common thing that happens, is you can like Coiling Rebirth your tortoise, gift them a card. You'll get 2 tortoises, right? You'll trigger the landfall thing twice. You'll have them sit there. When you cast Awaken the Woods later on, then, well, all of a sudden they're 3/3 creatures. You can cast this for like X is a million, right? So pretty cool stuff there. In the 5-drop slot, I guess I'll go over these. This is a great card, right? Helps you search up your Vinelasher or your Lumra or your Turtle or your Chupacabra, which we'll go over in a second. But also just lets you bring back a creature, which is really, really good. And this is also the same thing, bringing that creature back from the graveyard. But you can also get an extra permanent, whether that be a land or another creature you're going to lay next turn. So this is a pretty nice little card from Thunder Junction. Echo. Haven't gone over him yet. This cares about the number of permanents in our graveyard. Same with Squirming Emergence, right? This card cares about the number of permanents. We are bringing a lot of lands out of the graveyard, but there will be enough mill that you're going to have a good number. So this is a great target as well for things like Coiling Rebirth, because then all of a sudden you have 2 removal spells on 2 little small sticks, which is really, really nice. So yeah, of course, some other main cards. The Analyst, right? Analyst is going to be able to just return all the lands as well if you don't ever get to your Lumra. So that's pretty insane. It also is a nice 1/3 body to help block early on, but also just that milling. This also mills, and it gets you that critical land that you don't have. Sometimes you start the game with like 2 land, maybe 3 lands in your hand, but one's like a tap land, and maybe it's a Fabled Passage, right? So you need to get that 3rd land so it's untapped, so you can maybe do your Offspring, Vinelasher play, lay your Squirming Emergence, or the other 3-drop, which is Rustine, which is actually going to lower the cost of all of our creatures, which is pretty nice. Also just gets anything we mill back from the graveyard as well. So there's a lot of redundancy here, but it's ensuring that it works. And also in the 2-drop slot, we have the Marionette, just mills, and also that Death Touch is pretty helpful. I was actually running 4 of these at the start, and I highly recommend it. I just had to make some room for mostly some of our reanimation spells later on in the game. But yeah, this can just block a shoulder and scare people from swinging for a while, as well as just milling. So it's not like the worst thing in the world by any means. Also, just a Mosswood in here, right? If you for some reason just need a 3/2 at some point in the game, but also just acts as a draw card spell earlier on. So that's pretty nice. Being that we're milling so much, we can also, we have a Seed of Hope in here. It's not a permanent, but it's a nice way of getting a permanent, as well as milling, as well as gaining a little bit of life against aggro. So I tried Seed of Hope. It's not necessary by any means. Ruthless Negotiation, though, this is going to be you can cast it twice, removing 2 cards from the hand. Second time, drawing a card, and when it mills into your graveyard, it's not, even though it's not a permanent, we can still take advantage of it. So that's really good. The other 1-drop is Fairy Dream Thief, which, like, if you mill it into your graveyard, it's a 3-mana draw card. So that's pretty good, as well as just their Surveil trigger, which is really good. We are running 4 of the Surveil lands as well, so we have a lot of like control over the top card of our library, and we're also just throwing a bunch of lands in the graveyard that way, right? So whether that just be Fabled Passages or the Surveil lands, there's going to be a lot of permanents in the graveyard. So that's pretty nice, especially like, right, we have Awaken the Woods, Tortoise, we can do Coiling Rebirth, Echo, we can discriminate Emergence, our Lumra, as soon as it hits there. We also have the Sony Center of the Web, which is really, really good because this, first of all, the 2 spiders having reach is really good against a lot of the bat decks, whether that be blocking an Aclazotes or just actually trading with a Deep Cavern Bat or what have you. You can also just draw 2 cards off this if you're able to collect evidence twice, which is really not hard to do at all. You don't have to always hit your permanents with this or get rid of your permanents out of your graveyard if you need that for like your Cabra or whatever. You can just hit your 5-mana, sorceries or what have you. So that's not too bad. The Menace is really good on this. It's actually a lot better than it looks. It feels really good to play. It really does. And if you're like gonna get board wiped out of nowhere, if you get a bunch of spiders, you can just like Surveil 2, draw 2 cards, gain 2 life, which is pretty damn good, man. I'm not complaining ever about this card. It's also a nice card to search up with like Cruelty of Gix if it fits the type of matchup you're against, right? So these are the decisions I ended up making. You could run more Restless Cottages to take advantage of the Tortoise's ability, but I don't think it's necessary, being that we're milling so much. You could do like, something like this, maybe get rid of one of those. Could do something like that. I just really find that I want to have like super, clean consistency. I was running like a way more clean version of the deck, like all 4 ofs, but I ended up like changing it because being that we can like choose what we want out of our graveyard a lot, it helps us be able to like be flexible because it is a best of 1 deck, right? So that's sort of the idea there. I think I went over everything. Do not underestimate the power of Cabra, man. This gets rid of the Heartfire heroes that are huge. They're not going to ping you for any damage because we're giving them -X. It gets rid of Goldvein Hydra, right? They're not going to get any tokens off of their Hydra dying. Things like that. It actually really makes a difference. Not only that, it doesn't actually have to kill. It usually does 9 out of 10 times, but it will make the creature small enough that maybe our Tortoise can swing in. Things like that. But really, you're just trying to get your Vinelasher at some point. You're trying to either Lumra, you're trying to either Analyst. You pretty much just win. If you have 2 Vinelashers on the field, at some point you're gonna do one of those 2 things. You're just gonna ping them for like 16 damage to the face, and you're pretty much going to just win. You could get rid of some. You could run like another like Dread Knight here. You could get rid of like a Seed of Hope, for example. So I have a couple quick games for you. I hope you enjoy them. They're not the most incredible showcase of the deck, but they're good. They're good. They show you some of the cool interactions. Mostly just the Lumra, Vinelasher stuff. So I hope you enjoy. I think that this list works pretty dang well, and as you experiment with it, you can put some cards that you like. Maybe you have less or more rares and mythics than these. But yeah, pretty fun to play as well. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so I had to fix my OBS, and we are in the first game with a pretty good hand because we do have the Blanchwood. Let's keep it. Kept my opponent waiting. I feel bad. We do have the 2 tap lands, so not ideal, but I was looking for that exactly, so we'll keep it there. But often, right, with these Surveil lands, we can throw a lot of permanents into the graveyard, sort of raising that count, which is really important for a lot of cards in our deck. Particularly the Chupacabra, right? Definitely, as a removal spell, needs as many permanents as possible to hit good targets. Right, we already have 2 permanents in there, so we're sort of building up. And there's a sorcery, so that's not ideal because we don't really have a way of getting any of our non-permanent spells out of the graveyard. But very good. We do have the Cruelty of Gix later on, which is really, really solid. We'll use this as a nice little blocker in the meanwhile. There's a Fabled Passage. Chupacabra in there isn't the worst thing in the world, but let's keep this on top. Yeah, let's keep this on top. Because, of course, we're always looking for our Vinelasher, right? So you want to kind of keep digging so you can potentially top deck the Vinelasher. Or something to reanimate. But this is always good. Putting Fabled Passages are especially good in this deck. Right? Because of our thing, because of things like the turtle. Yeah, just double triggering like so many things. Especially, if you have even just one Vinelasher on the field and you start just Fable Passaging every single time, it gets out of hand for the opponent, right? And if you get that second Vinelasher, it's GG most of the time, my friends, most of the time. So this is going to be the classic Caretaker's Talent plus the 3-drop artifact. Oh, my flashlight that I'm using as a lower light source is flickering. So that's fun. Let's do this. We swing here with just this guy. Vinelasher in the field. We could potentially, honestly, let's use this. Let's get rid of something in their hand. We'll go for the slow play. The really good thing about this is you could read ahead. Wow, they don't have any creature. Okay, I guess that makes sense. And there's the, yeah, Ouroboros' Forge is the name. So we end the turn. Okay, so the light went off, but the OBS is still, or the green screen is still working pretty nicely, so that's fine. Okay, some removal action. Let's go ahead and do this now. The reason we did that now was to thin the deck, right? There's one less land in the deck now, because we really don't want to top deck a land. Of course, you always want to sort of save those to pop for your Fabled, or for your Vinelasher, so yeah, no. It also puts another land in the graveyard, right? So that we can get it back with Animist. So let's do. We could. We could. Let's probably just get the Vinelasher. In all honesty, I think that's what we do here. So we should have probably kept that Fable Passage, but it shouldn't matter too much. But it is 2 damage we missed out on. And we ended up top decking the land anyway. So thinning the deck or what have you didn't really pay off. But that's totally fine. Let's do the mill first. Right? See if we can hit something big. Okay, no. One more Surveil for a possible reanimation target. We don't care for this anymore at this point in the game. So that is fine. We can probably swing with this. We could use it as a blocker on the next turn. So let's not. And yeah, if I try to remove anything, we'll of course pop the Fabled. So little micro decisions here and there as you're playing the deck. They're probably. I wonder if they have their stupid Sunfall by now, especially that they just drew 2 cards. So let's see. We could always block with the Dream Thief as well, which will give us a way of drawing a card, which is not bad at all, my friends. So we are sort of playing around a board wipe, which is really tough to do, sort of in this deck. So this is a pretty hard matchup for us, in all honesty. But we can usually go wider than they go. Yeah, let's do it now. Let's go to black, I suppose. Let's see if we can soft deck something good. So that's not too bad. We could get another Fabled. Or sorry, I keep saying Fabled for Vinelasher. But we can probably just remove one of these bunnies with a Chupacabra, which wouldn't be horrible. Or we could just get the Tortoise. I think we just get the Tortoise. Right? Another land coming back. We can, get rid of 2 cards in their hand. We have how many lands? Good amount of lands in the graveyard. We can't quite kill. So we probably wait to do that. We could swing also with the Restless Cottage, but I think drawing a card here is probably best. And we did get a Zoni, so that's pretty nice. Let's swing with this. The one damage could matter. I think that's what we do. We might even block with the Tortoise here, depending. Let's see if they go for the old copy. They might. Looks like they didn't, though. So I think what we do is we kill one of these. Do I want to do that? I think it's probably fine to do this. Yeah, because we're going to take 8, which is more than I want to take. And they might just Sunfall here. They might just Sunfall here, folks. But we're going to play it like this in case they don't have it. Being that they didn't copy this makes me think that they have it. So, oh no, they are going for that. So this would have had haste, so they don't want to swing with it. Apparently, I feel like they should have probably swung with it, right? Gone full aggro there. But okay, so what we do here, right? We pop this, yeah. Absolutely easy peasy lemon squeedaddles. Squeedaddles. This should be enough, I think. I think we have enough, yeah. Right, because they're at 8. Yeah, we have more than 4. Absolutely. So, we win? Not too shabby. Pretty easy to do, and look how much mana we have, right? And look how many triggers that is. They might have some gain life action. Yeah, they have the carrot cake, but I don't think it's enough, ladies and gents. I really don't. And we do enough mana to swing with the Restless. So that's something we could do, but they have a better blocker for it. There it is. So pretty easy to set up, in all honesty, right? That sacrifice trigger to just bring back all the lands in your graveyard. Absolutely essential. Sort of the glue that holds a lot of this together if you don't get like your Lumra, for example, or a reanimation spell, which we really didn't get other than the Gix. So pretty good first game. Let's get into another one to sort of show you some of the other cards. Okay, so it should be the second game of the video. We did just top deck the Lumra. I forgot I was recording for a second there. So let's lead with the tap land. We will throw a land in the graveyard, if possible. More triggers for Lumra, more triggers for Analyst. So we're feeling like a hot boy. We actually have the ability. Let's start with this though. Okay, they didn't counter it. That's good. Don't hit the mana. So that's a little upsetting, especially when we hit like an Awaken the Woods to the graveyard. We don't really have a way of getting that back. So a little frustrating. But we did hit a Cabra. So we have a removal spell ready to go. But they're gonna have counters. So there's that to deal with. I think we just have to go for it. Probably gets counter though. Man, Azorius is kind of annoying in this deck. Oh wow. Huh. I wonder if they're gonna go for like a board wipe. There is a 4-mana board wipe. I always forget the name of it. Interesting. Temporary lock. I always forget about temporary lockdown. Love that. Now, do we have a way of killing that? I don't know. We don't really have much interaction. That is a downside of this deck. It doesn't really have too much in that regard. Or anything in that regard. So you sort of just have to overwhelm the opponent by ramping super fast, pinging for a lot of damage, sort of comboing off with your Lumbras, if you can. We could go for Lumra. I think we do. I think we do. If it gets countered, that's fine. We could potentially reanimate it. You know, and we can Gix and Analyst next turn at the same time, which is always kind of nice. We got a Thinker. Why are they being selective with their mana? That weirds me out. Okay, so they're keeping up the other counter spell that needs a blue and a white, I guess. Is that what happened? No, they're just being weird. Okay, but we still got our trigger. We get to Fable there. I think we can outvalue this deck. We just need some top decks that aren't lands off the top, right? All we need is not hitting lands off the top. And then we hit a land off the top. Okay. Let's lead with this. Do you want to counter it? Are you a countering type of guy? Okay. Let's just lay this now then. Go for this. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. So they have they must have some creature. Let's go for it. They probably have that island guy or what was it? Ah, the locked whale. Okay, so that's actually really good. It's a really good hit. They're down. Oh, they top deck a planes. Oh no, they had the planes for me looking at their hand. That's right. So they could top deck something good. They're not gonna lay it though. They're gonna go for the anchorage. Okay. Nice and chillin' so far. Question is, what do we get with our Searchy McLurchy? We could get a Zoni. A Zoni might be nice, being that it makes reach creatures. A Zoni might be a good hit here. You know what I mean? We could get Awaken the Woods and go super wide. We could get a Vinelasher and go that route. But I'm feeling like the one Azoni comes in clutch like this, especially with this card. So let's do this. We get rid of Awaken the Woods counts as 2. So we do have to get rid of 1 permanent. So we'll do like a Blanchwood and Awaken. Okay. And we'll do this. We didn't necessarily need to lay that Fable Passage in case we get our Vinelasher, which we could with, of course, that. But I think it's fine. I think it's fine. In case we top deck the land. Sunfall sucks here. Okay. So hopefully we don't top deck the land, but it is possible. So we did get the Lumra. So it's actually really fine that we did that. I would say, since we're gonna have enough damage here. Let's do this now. So I could have laid it for that 1 extra damage, but or held it up. But yeah, we're good. We're good. Now we really hope they don't have a counter for this. That would be really sad. It's very possible though. We wouldn't be distraught by any means. So pretty easy, pretty easy. And we have this later. Right? So when this goes in the graveyard, that's one of the good parts about this card that I would recommend playing. If you're gonna play any sort of sorcery instant that's outside of like reanimation, probably this on Ruthless Negotiation. Not too bad. Draws you a card later on in the game too, which is probably the best part about it. Getting rid of 2 cards over the course. So do they have the counter? Excuse me, what's are they thinking about? Makes me wonder. Pretty nice little chunk. I can't really tell how much that was. Okay. Okay. We did get the Restless Cottage, which is really huge, right? We have 2 in the deck. You could run more, but we already have a lot of those Surveil lands, which really helps like fix our draws to avoid putting like sorceries in the graveyard and stuff. So I think that's probably the move. This isn't too shabby either. Let's go ahead and do this. They're gonna have to counter this one. If they don't have it and they have some other sort of shenanigan, we could just win right here, right now. Not quite though. Not quite. Okay. Yeah, we'll pay 3. It's kind of weird they did that, right? Kind of weird. And yeah, often in this deck, we will get like super close to running out of actual lands to search with our Fableds. Happens way more than it should. We'll get the last black with this, and then we'll swing with the Restless Cottage and Lumra. I think, right? Just put the pressure on. Well, they could have a sweeper. They could have a sweeper. In fact, not going to risk it. This is a good game moment. Okay, it was. All right. So they probably didn't have a sweeper. And even if they did, it wasn't instant speed. They got goobed. So, pretty simple, pretty like, telegraphed strategy, but it still works. You pay enough of the reanimation spells, you have some like interesting interaction. You do have the ramp with the Blanchwood, which is really important. There's like a 1-of Squirming Emergence and a 1-of Retstein, which really help you to just, turn 3 go off if you get like 2 mill triggers. Usually it's like a turn 4 play, and you cast like a 1-drop or you lay a tap land. And you could already do some pretty amazing things. And like Cabra coming back with like Coiling Rebirth is really, really good. Things like that. So yeah, just wanted to do a quick showcase of this one. I really wish I had some more interactions. Some of those that I described. But yeah, and of course like the card that makes the lands, the Dryad card. If you have like a couple blossoming tortoises on the field, right? They get buffed 1/1, so they're like anthems, and you can cast it for just like X is like 10 sometimes. You can have like 12 lands, like pretty easily, in fact. So yeah, not too shabby. Pretty good little package here.